friends, welcome back to my channel. This morning I am going to be diving into something that a lot of you asked me on Instagram, would I be purchasing? So I actually did address this on my Instagram, and if you missed it, don't miss out on the latest and greatest behind the scenes. Follow me right here so you know what could be up and coming. And yes, today I'm going to be using a brand new tool from Tati Beauty, also known as the Glam Life Guru here on YouTube. This is the Blendiful. I let you guys know on Instagram that I would be purchasing it. One, I've always known her to use puffs on her channel, at least to some degree, and always really rave about them. So when she came out with a tool that she thought would be amazing for the market, I was really excited, but the price point is also pretty fantastic. I don't buy beauty blenders. Let's rewind a second. I don't buy beauty blenders. I buy like Real Technique sponges. I've gotten other sponges in my subscription boxes, but I think the price for an actual beauty blender is kind of outrageous, especially since I personally feel like I can go through a sponge more quickly than I like. Yes, I wash them. Yes, I reuse them a ton, but I was still always kind of on the hunt for something a little different, which is why I've been dabbling in brushes way more this past year, but I really wanted to give this a go. There are two products in here if you are unfamiliar with the Blendiful that just came out on the market from Tati Beauty. One Blendiful and one Baby Blendiful. And I think the price for this was like $18 and some change plus shipping. I think these puffs might last longer, and that's kind of what I'm excited to put to the test to see, do these last longer than an average beauty sponge as far as like lifespan goes, but also how it applies my makeup, because to me that's super important. Well, I'm really excited to try this today. I almost tried it over the weekend, and real talk, me to you, I almost tried it over the weekend so I could give you a longer wear test, but then I thought, no, I really want to do an on-camera first impressions, even though I don't do those a lot, because I think first impressions for me personally can always fluctuate and change. I don't always know exactly what I'm feeling in that moment, and I want to try things for a longer amount of time to work with a product or a tool. So I'm really excited to let you know my first impressions of this, but stay tuned and be subscribed to know what I think in an update. So let's dive into this baby. The packaging, as you can see here, is just a black bag. You've seen this probably already if you've looked into this online. It is the Blendiful. It has two puffs inside here, and then it has cleaning instructions and Tati's own handwriting saying no harsh lines, XO Tati. I'm hoping for no harsh lines. I'm hoping this is really going to make my face look airbrushed, and that's what we're all going for. If we're actually doing the full bake on our face, the full enchilada, we want to look natural or beautiful and blended. We don't want to look like we're wearing a mask of makeup. So let's put this baby to the test today, because I'm an average consumer just like you guys. I bought this myself. Nobody sent it to me. Let's get into this. So here's the little baby puff, and it says Tati Beauty back here. This little puff is feeling kind of firm. The fingers go well right in here. I feel like this would be good for under the eyes. Oh, it feels soft. There's nothing on it, but it feels nice and soft. But this one does feel a tad firm, which I'm good with. For that under the eye work, you want a little bit of a pressing motion. And then here's the actual puff itself. I'm kind of surprised by the size. I knew it was kind of large, but this definitely, like, compared to the size of my face, we've got some room to work. This has a little bit more bend to it. It definitely has some flex, because I know I've seen in her instruction manual online and in her videos, she does bend it, crease it, do all the things. So we're gonna do our full face with this. I'm excited. On my phone, if you see me pulling this up, I do have her website pulled up, and she does have step tips on here on how to do all your makeup with these puffs. So if you see me looking on this, that's what I'm looking at. I like to read instructions sometimes. So I already have on a moisturizer, so I'm not worried about that, but I am gonna jump into some primers. And the products I'm gonna be using today on my face are things that I have loved and raved about here on my channel, because I know how they perform. I know how they work with my skin, so I'll be able to tell if there's a big difference between the tools I'm using. It says step 1 primer. Banish the appearance of pores and fine lines by using a pressing motion with a blurring primer. This morning I'm gonna be jumping into my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. You guys know I love this, and I've been using this quite a while now. Let's see how this works. I'm anxious and nervous. So I guess I'm just gonna stick this in here. I don't know. It's like so clean. Oh, good. I'm glad it's sitting on top of the sponge and not like soaking in. So let's see. Ooh. I like to really fill the pores up front here. Oh, wow. She says by using a pressing motion, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just like pressing all of this into my skin. This looks just like normal. You can tell that it didn't really dirty the sponge much because it kind of sat on top of the sponge and didn't really soak in. I think we look like I normally would, so let's go to the next step. So step 2 is foundation. It says easily glide on foundation with a sweeping or buffing motion to achieve a flawless and airbrushed look. That's what we're going for, flawless and airbrushed. A lot of you guys know I am obsessed with my CoverGirl Olay foundations, and these are pumps, so I guess I just pump them onto the sponge and then go to town on the face. I do mix 2 colors because I'm at that in-betweeny shade. Thanks, Winter. I'm looking to see what part of the sponge she used. I think she just used the same area. So I'm gonna do what Tati does. Okay, so I only have this much on the sponge. If I need to add more, I will, or the puff. I should call it the puff. I have only this much on the puff, and we'll see if I need to add more or not. Sweeping or buffing motion. So let's see here. I've seen people do the sweeping thing that I don't normally do, but I'm curious if it works. I think it's working, and I'm not really seeing a lot of brush strokes or like sweep strokes either, and I don't usually like a sweeping motion because I'm always worried it's going to give me streaks or lines on my face, but this is applying really, really fast. Now this is not like a full coverage foundation. This is one that I do like to build to my liking for the day. It's applied really quickly, especially comparing it to a sponge that I've been using for a while that I got. I don't remember if this was an Ipsy or a BoxyCharm. What I liked about this is that the product did sit on top of the sponge, so I felt like I got to use more of my product and less got absorbed into this particular sponge. This is the Illuminati sponge, I think, but it does take a long time to beat it into your face, whereas this also allows the product to sit on top of it, but it's swept on my face and I can't sweep anything with this, so that's a win. To kind of give you a better close-up, like you can kind of see this really spread on really evenly. You don't see any strokes. Since I only used a little bit of product because I'm mixing colors, I'm going to do it again and build up the coverage and see how it does with this. And this still isn't looking crazy cakey or anything because it just sits on top of the product. And these are supposed to be really easy to clean. So let's do a little bit more. And I got this really pretty little pimple right now. Hi 36, how you doing? I'm just gonna put some stuff around here. Oh wow. So I'm just sweeping it on. It's working so effectively too. All right, I'm starting to see, well, I was about to say I'm starting to see some swiping motions in the makeup when I wipe again when I'm doing that second layer, but not really. If I kind of like pat back into it, kind of, now I'm doing that bendy thing that she talked about to kind of get into that nose crevice, because I don't know about you guys, but my nose, it always misses those patches there, or it starts to sink or settle or do whatever that makeup does to make me look weird. I am not mad at this application at all, and this was like crazy fast considering what I'm used to at the moment. Can you see how good of coverage this is? And this is not like a totally full coverage foundation, but this is definitely giving me exactly what I'm wanting. And now I want to go in with concealer and see how it does. But I don't see any strokes. I don't see any like missing spots. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty pleased right now. Like if I wanted to blend down my neck, because I usually at this point would be like, I gotta make sure I'm blending because I'm in that in-betweeny shade. It's like a dream. All right, what does she say to do for concealer? So I don't want to mess that up. Concealer. Use the pointed tip to easily lay down a smooth and even amount of concealer where precision is needed. So I'm going to, she's still showing that she's using the tip there. I could use that, or I could try to go to the sides. I think I'll use these sides over here for contour. And it shows Tati's still using the tip of her puff. So, and it says use the pointed tip to easily lay down. So I'm gonna do what it says. I follow directions sometimes. A concealer that I do love and trust a lot because my under eyes do tend to get a little wrinkly because I have a very expressive face, but I also like lightening and brightening, is the Too Faced Born This Way, so I'm gonna be doing that. I'm even gonna try to do a little bit of the way that Tati does it. Lately she's been doing this thing where she just puts some here and some here. So I'm just gonna follow the method behind her madness because she said that works better. But I'm also gonna do a little bit of lightening here, 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 and hopefully for that pimple down here that we're gonna call Fred. I always take this up on my eye. This is also my eye primer. I can get into this crevice of my nose that I feel like is a canyon. I am gonna move over to a little bit more of a cleaner spot just to see. But I'm still using the corner edge. I'm not so much sweeping this one as much as I am pressing and motioning over, as you can see, where I just kind of like keep moving the product. I don't know if I like this as much with this concealer yet. I'm still trying to decide. Because I can't tell if it's looking cakey since it's not a wet sponge, or am I just an old lady of habit where I like what I like? I don't know yet. It is going on so fast though. I don't know if I like this for concealer. It's starting to look a little bunchy. This is why I never know with first impressions. I always like to give things a couple different goes to give it an opportunity and for me to try new techniques, you know what I mean? I feel like this actually went on really well. I kind of want to try the concealer a different way, I think, next time, because I'm not totally in love how it didn't spread as much here as it normally would. But that could have been the way I was choosing to keep using the tip at first that had all the other stuff on it. Maybe I should have just gone for a fresh side, but I'm not upset with this. But I do want to play with it more. I'm intrigued. So let's go to the next step. Step 4 is contour. It says folding in half around your finger, use a striping motion to pick up and lay down your contour to the angles of your face, then softly buff out the edges. So we all know, or if you don't know, I'll tell you, Tati really loves cream contours and things like that ever since she's been really doing a lot with Scott Barnes. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the future we see her come out with her own cream contour or face something, because that really is where her heart lies, and she says she can make it work with anything or anyone's skin. I am a powder lover, so something that I really have been loving are the Tarte face palettes that we've gotten from BoxyCharm. So I'm gonna be using those as I normally would. I'm kind of surprised at this moment she doesn't say anything about powdering down, because she has that for step 5, but that's just because that's how she likes to do makeup. So if you want to do it in another order, I'm sure you could. I'm gonna do it the way she says for the first trial application right here with you guys, and I'll keep you updated if I switch up the routine or steps behind the scene and let you know how I feel about that. But right now, I'm literally following her steps to see how this sponge works to its best potential according to her. I don't have any cream contours, so I'm gonna be jumping over here into the Tarte Park Avenue Chisel palette. As you can tell, is very loved here in my beauty space. And I love to go into the shade Carrot, which is more of a like cool toned nude to carve out that cheekbone area. Right, I'm gonna go over here with this side and just put all the product on here. Ooh! Oh, it picked it up way faster than I was expecting. Okay, okay, way to be. I thought I was gonna have to keep going back and forth, but it picked it up real fast. Okay, now I'm a little nervous. Oh, okay. Oh wow, there's even more to put over here. I'm not used to that. Usually with a brush I have to keep dipping in. Okay, okay. Woo. Woo, there's my stripes. Okay, now I gotta blend it. I'm nervous. Pulling and puffing up this motion because I want it to go upward, not downward. So I'm just kind of like blending this out. Then softly buff out edges is what she said. So I'm gonna softly buff out the edges. Is it possible I use too much? Totally, because I don't know what I'm doing yet. Kind of pulling up the excess that's on the puff still up my face where I normally would with a brush. Next time, I feel like what I might do next time is powder down my whole face first and then go in with the contour, because that's kind of what I'm accustomed to. I feel like this might be not blending, it's more harsh lines than I was expecting, so I'm still kind of working with it. I probably should have powdered first for my skin instead of going in straight with contour, but I wanted to follow the directions. I kind of wanted to see. You learn as you go. Okay, I feel like this is kind of kicking up right here, but I don't know. I'm gonna keep working with it and see what I can do. She also shows she uses it on her forehead, but I don't think she uses this for her nose. So I'm gonna do a little bit on my forehead as well, using this side still. I also realized I haven't used the small puff yet. So that might be where I should have done with the concealer. That may have been my mistake because I used the big puff for concealer because I saw that on her directions, but I'm wondering if I should have used this firmer hand one for the concealer, and I may have liked it better. So again, stay tuned. Be subscribed. There's gonna be more real person reviews coming to you because I am not one of Tati's friends. This wasn't sent to me. I'm an average consumer and beauty lover, just like you. It applied around the forehead really well. It definitely went on really quickly. So I'm gonna do a little bit here for that second, third, fourth chin, whatever we wanna call it today. Step 5. Dip into your favorite powder and use a patting motion to lay down the product for an airbrush locked in finished look. So I am going to be going in with something that I've had in my collection for a while. I haven't talked about it in a while because I've been using up some of the Wet n Wild. I still have some of that, but a lot of you wanted me to know about the Coty Airspun. Yes, I have this in my collection. I have tried this, so I'm gonna be using this today. This is something that I used to use a ton on my channel like a year ago. And also where I first heard Tati talk about the puff. So I thought it was nice to go back full circle to where I feel like she always talked about puffs before because of this puff, and she would use it a lot for her skincare. I feel like that's kind of where her genius came from for this product. If you're curious, this is what my sponge is looking like at the moment. It doesn't look like I rolled it around in dirt or anything. It actually looks pretty good, and my face is looking pretty nice. She says to use a patting motion to lie down the product for an airbrushed look. So I'm gonna go over here to this side. Get into the powder. And I did use that puff from the Coty Airspun a lot for a while there, so that's kind of what made me think this could be a good product for me because I was using this puff a lot back in the day. Right now I'm just pulling product off of it. Okay, my face really is looking like everything's kind of falling into place. Even if I wasn't sure about that contour there for a little bit, it is all like falling into place right now. I'm a little surprised. I again still think next time I do this, I'm going to use this small sponge for the concealer though, because that's the one spot that now it looks totally fine. But when I was doing the motions, I was like, it isn't looking like it normally does when I use a sponge, but it could have been because I should have used this instead, because these are not the same type of sponge. This is a bit tougher. It does have some bend to it, but feels like it would have probably been better for the concealer. So next time. The only time she brings up this small one is now for highlight, because now I'm at step 6. But you know what I gotta do? I gotta put on some brows, because this is looking silly. Just 1 second. Okay. So I quickly applied some brows, and I'm just adding a little bit of regular like bronzer from another Tarte palette that I have here, because she didn't really talk about that. She kind of goes straight into highlight, and I'm wanting to follow her rules, but I do need to put on just a little bit more to kind of blend and be blendless. But I probably could have used the puff for the bronzer. I know she only talks about contour, and I'm sure you can use that, but I am going to use the sponge on the back end to kind of like buff out the powder I put down with a brush. Just because I really feel like now, after I've been using this morning just for this little amount of time, I'm like, yeah, I think I could have done this bronzer with the puff. But I am using it to blend it out, and it really is helping the harsher lines and the blending to happen. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Next time I think I'll just try using the bronzer with the puff too. I'm gonna do nose contour really quick because I don't think this is gonna work for that. I'm sure she'll say it can, but my skills aren't there yet. So give me 1 more second to do nose contour, and then we're gonna jump into what she's talking about. Okay, I just didn't use the sponge to apply the makeup as you saw, but I did use it to pat it down to blend it, because the nose contour is where harsh lines can happen. And I'm really pleased at how this is just, even with powder, not cream, really helping to spread and lighten and make this not harsh. Well done. Now I gotta do a little bit of blush, but I think I am gonna use the puff for that. And even though she doesn't talk about blush, I'm doing it anyway. I'm a rebel. This is currently in my Shop My Stash. This is the Ciate blush, so I'm gonna use this little piece here of the puff and just try using some blush with it. I'm sure I could do this. I'm sure I can. Oh boy. Okay, yeah. don't know. I'm gonna use brushes for some things. I don't know if this is gonna totally replace my normal morning habits, mostly because I am a creature of habit in life about a lot of things, but this absolutely is applying the blush really well. It's not over applying the blush, which is what I was concerned about, because I'm not a blush girl and I don't like those big rosy cheeks. I'm pretty pleased with how this came out. Now we're gonna do highlight. My highlight love of choice, it's the Becca Champagne Pop, because, hi Pan, how you doing? This stuff's amazing. And I gotta see how she says to do this. Highlight, taking an angled side, dab on cream or powder highlight to the places you want to glow. All right, and she is using this little muffin. So I'm gonna take this little guy here, take it by the edge. Wow, it just picks up product pretty darn quickly here. All right, let's hope this doesn't go too crazy. Ooh. It's applying it very spread and not too much like in one spot. With highlights that are very blingy, it can easily go too much too quick in one spot. So I like how this is kind of like applying it evenly and spreading it. I'm gonna put a little on my nose and go down. I'm gonna use the other side to kind of like blend that out a bit so it's not too harsh. So we're not Rudolph the highlighter reindeer, but you know I like to do that, so. You know what I'm curious of at this moment? I would normally take my brush and do my inner corners no matter what eye look I was gonna do. So I'm gonna take the back end of this, dip into my powder, and go in here. Just a bit more because let's be serious. I didn't hit pan on this because I like a subtle highlight. I'm pretty pleased with how my face is looking in person. This part here still looks a little harsh to me actually. Now that I'm really investigating with that powder, that's looking pretty harsh. So you know what I haven't done yet, and something I would normally have done by now, is spray down my face to kind of make everything one. But before I do that, I'm gonna go one last step here. This is what the sponge is looking like. I'm gonna take this side here that doesn't have much on it and just kind of blend a bit. This is why I like to use things more than once, because my first impressions, I could have done something wrong based off of my previous steps and how I normally do makeup. Before I usually contour with this product, I usually would have powdered down my whole face by then, and she had that as the next step, because that's how she does makeup. But I'm thinking next time I'll do that in reverse, because I don't think this will be as harsh then. Spreading the product, but right here, it still looks, damn, that looks splotchy. Ugh. The rest of my face looks so good. I think that's just the adjustment I need to make next time for my own personal skin and steps in the morning. All right, what I'm gonna do now is do my eyes, and then I'm gonna come back with my final thoughts for a first impression for this, but stay tuned. Hold on. Okay guys, now we are at the completed look here. So I've got some pros and cons about the Blendiful. Now, like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of first impressions, especially when it comes to working with new tools. So I'm gonna give this a few more goes, and definitely be subscribed, hit the bell so you don't miss my updates on these. But as far as like first impressions, average consumer, I have to say I like this, but I also like the puff idea. It's kind of like a blender, kind of like another tool that we haven't really seen on the market. But I want to get into why I like it and why I think I would do stuff differently or not use this for specific steps for me. First and foremost, I think it did a great job putting on the primer. I think it did a great job putting on the foundation. That really went on beautifully. As far as concealers go, next time I would use the smaller one. For some reason, it didn't even dawn on me to use the smaller one, even though I feel like I knew you could use the smaller one for that. But according to her little step-by-step here, she used the big one for that, and I was just kind of going off what her online instructions were. Next time, I'm gonna try this for concealer, just because I feel like it made the concealer that I know and love a little bunchy, didn't spread as much as it normally would have, so I feel like I wanna jump into this one next time, because this does have a different firmness to it. I think it applied and spread any kind of powder better than I thought it would, but I don't know if I would use this this puff next time for powder contour. I feel like it did a great job probably with creams, but it did a great job with a powder highlighter. So I'm a little confused because right now, I don't know if you could tell on camera, and we'll have to do some edits and stuff, but as far as like this right here goes, it looks really, really patchy. I have taken some bigger fluffy brushes to it since then. I've kept going back in with these to try to like blend it out more. Right now this just looks too chunky, but it's also because I did the steps Tati uses, and she uses a cream contour. Keep that in mind. I usually powder first and then go into a contour, but because I was following her step-by-step instructions, I did it the way she said to. But next time I would do it the Nichole way and do powder first with the puff and then maybe try the contour again. I feel like I didn't get as much use out of this little guy today as I was hoping to, and it's probably just because I was following her step by step. So I need to work with my face next time, not how Tati has it kind of like drawn up on her website, and use them a little differently next time to try to figure out the best way to use them. But I also, it just may be that I like this for foundations, primers, maybe concealers, and then I'd rather use a brush maybe for contour. That could just be what ends up happening. But again, I'm not sure yet. First impressions for me, I gotta give it some more time and love. I'm really, really pleased with kind of like how everything's spread and everything is looking really nice right now. I'm not displeased with this at all, and look at this. This is at the end of all of that makeup and it doesn't even look crazy filthy. I feel like you could use this more than once if you needed to. If you're someone with a crazy schedule and you're like, oh man, I don't have time to wash this every day. I mean, this is the final end result. You still have lots of room to play with, and I'm sure it'll dry a bit. I will wash this today though and try again tomorrow and kind of see how it all plays out doing my steps. So there are some pros and cons to this product for me personally, but that's me and my skin. And a lot of you know I have sensitive skin. Right now we just got hit with a crazy cold blast, so I'm a little bit drier than I was even a few days ago. So I'm keeping all of that in mind as I go into my next few days of trying these products out. I like how I could just sweep on my foundation though without much thought, because I feel like that is a process every morning with a sponge where I'm like bounce, 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 and it takes a good amount of time. This really cleaned up that time frame for me in no time. I feel like my makeup went on faster today using this, and for me that is important, and it still gave a flawless finish to it. I want to try it with some other full coverage foundations though, so I can really see this baby in action to see how much coverage it'll give without those streak marks. But using the products that I use every day and love, I'm still really impressed. For the price tag, I'm really pleased that I did purchase this and give this a try, because I am always looking for fast, effective ways to apply makeup beautifully and flawlessly. And I did like how this blended out the nose contour. When you saw me putting on the bronzer, even though I feel like right now it looks kind of patchy back here, I still liked how it was able to spread with a puff. I hadn't seen that before. Maybe in a future faves and fails video, I'll do a little bit of an update after I've tried this for a couple more days, but I'm pretty pleased. I mean, I think the end result really speaks for itself in a lot of ways. I think my face looks pretty good other than that contour blotchiness. That's my one con at the moment. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't generally do a lot of first impressions, especially with like a product like this, so I was really excited to get to sit down this morning and do this with you. Thank you so much for watching, and if you happen to be new to my crazy little channel, hi new friends, I hope you take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button down below to see all of the fun, loud, weird, unique videos I do every single week. Bye friends!